never cried so much since I came into this program. So I'm really happy my heart is being softened these days. So I'd like to say greetings to everyone, and I'm so glad to have the opportunity to speak with you all and share my presentation with you. Please bear with me. This is the first time that I have spoken publicly since my stroke. And trust me, before the stroke, I never had a problem with word finding, as most of you know. The fight of my life, how I got over. These words are going to be used interchangeably, but that would be me. My life was extremely hectic and filled with various opportunities. I was very independent. I had school, my children, travel, church, rescuing, enabling, caretaking. You get the picture. That was me. I was on a roller coaster. Within minutes, my life was changed. And I mean literally minutes. I'd like to tell my story thanks to an amazing medical, nursing, and rehabilitation staff and the care that I received while I was at Swedish, Spalding Inpatient, Spalding Daycare. I'll tell you about the principal's office later. and a special shout out to my children, family, and all those who cared for me, took care of my business, surrounded me with love and prayer. I am so grateful. I never would have made it. That's one song I should have sung. I never would have made it, but I made it. Now listen, we all have obstacles, don't we? That we have overcome, all of us. And some of us are still overcoming. But I want you to be encouraged. He brought me this far by faith. I sing a lot also, and I use a lot of props. Anyway, I want you to really be encouraged no matter what. Whether you're in school, continue your career, taking care of someone, going back to school, Cynthia, be encouraged. We're overcomers. One thing I learned on this journey is to stay in the moment. We all have a story, and I'm thankful to be telling mine, because I could have been dead, and that's literal. Have you ever wondered how you got over? If you were ever going to make it over? Talking to you, Tony. Talking to myself, too. How you made it over? Well, I'm here to tell you today, you made it over. You're not upstairs anymore, and neither am I. All of us have made it over to one respect or another. Gabrielle, are you going to school? Did you finish high school?
Yeah.
Okay, then. Donna, you got that promotion on your job?
Yeah.
Val, you trying to take over?
I didn't get no promotion.
That phrase came from a traditional old school song that I grew up singing. We sing songs about life and circumstances. Songs like, I'm so glad Jesus lifted me. Now you might want to say somebody else lifted you, but that's okay. We sing songs like, power, I need more power. And we do need power in our lives when we're going through certain things. Power, not your power. Don't steal somebody else's power, get your own power. And we sung another song, I'm a soldier, I'm in the army. And when I went through this journey, my song was, I got my war clothes on. Those are the types of the songs that we sung growing up. And those are the type of songs that will help you get you through. Now, can y'all sing that? No, just kidding. Some call them Negro spirituals. Well, let's be politically correct. Now it's African American spirituals. I'd like to think they were Negro spirituals because we didn't know about African American black back then. So the title of my presentation is Fighting for My Life and How I Got Over It. So I want you to take a listen. This is this is traditional. You need some sound. I made it over. He brought me through great trials. I made it over, and I'm still going. And you wonder how you gonna get over it. I went through this same situation. How I got over. Now sometimes you got to think, how did I get over that situation? Even the walls closed in. And you know, if you can't dance, sometimes you have to pep your foot. Get a little pep in your step. Get over. I made it. I graduated. I made it. I might have to come back, but I made it through this phase. I made it over. Hey. That is one song that got me through, but I had several songs that got me through. And it took a long time because before the stroke years, I loved music. And after that, I wasn't able to listen to music very much. Fighting for my life and how I got over. It is the same as how I overcome. And it depends a lot on us and the help that we receive. That's how we're going to come over, how we're going to get over, how we got over. It don't mean getting over on somebody, so don't think like that. Throughout my whole life, I've been a fighter. Being the eldest of 12, I had to fight. I had to fight to be my own person. I took care of my siblings. I had to fight for them, literally. I had a brother who was a chicken. I got over that. And if you saw The Color Purple, Miss Sophie, and in that one section she said, all my life I've had to fight. Do y'all remember that dress in The Color Purple? Oh, yeah. She had to fight. And some of you have had to fight all your life. And if it wasn't for sickness, you're fighting for something. I had to fight prejudice. I got over that one. Abusive relationships. I got over that. I had to fight for my children's education. I had to move them to a whole different neighborhood. I had to fight the principal. I had to fight culture. Cherie got in a fight with one of the kids, and the principal wanted her to pick up trash around the school. And I'm saying, oh, well, why hasn't this other girl? They were both fighting. He thought he singled Cherie out. I'm like, no, if the other girl doesn't pick up the trash, she doesn't either. And he was constantly using things like, you people. So I sent my husband up there. He knew how to deal with them better than I did, because I'd be wanting to go upside their heads or something like that. So I had to fight the principal. I had to fight culture. Have you ever had your house TP'd? My neighbors TP'd my house. They would throw a deck of cards on the lawn and tear them all up except for ace of spades. Fighting to live in your neighborhood. Telling my kids, you can't go to school out here, y'all crazy, we going. I had to fight with my children, their emotions, moving them to an all-white neighborhood and school. I made it over, but that was a hard one. And they did very well. I'm very proud of them. Since this stroke, I've been able to step back and see the adults that they've become and how capable they are. You go to the next slide. That's me, y'all. As a young mother, and this is LaDonna, and that's her over there. I married at a very young age, and I had to fight to continue school with the baby in the 9th grade. Back in those days, it was a disgrace. I was locked in the house. I wasn't allowed to go to school. So my entire life has been a fight. I was shunned, as they say. And people were looking for me to fail. And that pushed me into a sense of becoming driven and performance. When that happens a lot of times, people do look for you to fail. And I don't think it's all intentional sometimes. It's just what happens. You on the next one, Cherie? Okay. I've always been a lifelong learner. I wasn't able to finish school. And that's why it was so important what I had started, I wanted to finish. My parents all thought that we should have an education, and they believed in it. By marrying so young, I didn't have an opportunity, so I attended quite a few conferences and seminars, did early childhood. I'm thinking, I don't know how to take care of all these kids. Let me go get educated. I still have some tradition, though, surrounded around that one. The next one, Cherie. Now this was a difficult fight. Surviving the loss of my husband. I had to fight on this one. He was diagnosed in December, and he died in March. So we only had, is that 3 or 4 months? 4 months to deal with that. There was no stopping. I cried. I said, God, I don't know if I could do, I don't know if I could make it through this one. Our son literally lost it. When my husband died, my son fell off the turnip truck. Literally. He fell off. So surviving a spouse was a huge loss for me. There was no time to think, and there was one scripture I held on to. It was Psalms 23. I had to fight through his death. I even had to fight the funeral home. I had bought his suit, and it was all nice and everything, and we went back. This guy brought up this suit and said, oh, this will be $200 more. And not only that, it'll match his coffin. I'm thinking, no, they catch you grieving. And my daughter said, we don't need that. But you just have to be cognizant of what's going on when you're in a grieving state. I took care of my mother. She had 2 aneurysms that burst. She survived, and I got over that. Next slide. Hospitalization, Swedish. That's when the other story began. In 2007, I was diagnosed with aneurysms, and they're hereditary in my family. Several of us have them. 2007, I had my 2 coils, and they check them every year. 2009, they went back, and next slide. They had to recoil. Isn't that cool how they do that? They put that platinum coils in your head. And the coils had compacted. So after they had compacted, in 2010, I had a recoiling done. And right before that, I really felt like I was a little bit nervous. I called this doctor and I said, you know, I'm really afraid to have this done. What will happen if I don't have it done? He said, well, you know, you could die, they could burst. I'm like, okay, I'll have it done. But I was fearful. So I asked my daughter to come, who I never call, to come. And then I asked my sister to come. And she came, and I just kept getting pushed back that whole entire day. This is when all the drama started. Don't I look just lovely there? I just wanted you to see how bad it really was. Actually, and this is the cart that they start to bring in. Well, what happened, the procedure went well, but then there was a piece of coil that migrated. And the next one, I don't think I want to look at that. And during this procedure, fighting for my life, there was no pulse, no blood pressure. I was in a dark, dark hole. And one of the nurses said to me, don't go towards the light. That's how it sounded. I wanted to say, lady, I want the light. You know what I mean? If you believe like that, you ain't trying to go towards the darkness. And I literally began climbing out of this dark hole, just like this. And so I asked my daughter, I was fighting for my life. I said, what was I doing? What was I saying? And because I know this is what I was doing, climbing. And I was climbing. My husband and I used to climb. And I was climbing just like that. And it was almost the exact same. He used to tell me, Shirley, get down. Put your knees down. Dig with your hands. I'm like, I ain't trying to get all that digging and carrying on. But it was the exact same example. So, before I got out of this hole, I opened my eyes and I was upside down. And I looked to my right and everybody looked really funny. And the doctor said, wow, that wasn't supposed to happen. You scared us. I'm like, really? I'm so glad they didn't have to put those paddles on me. Isn't that what they usually have to do with valve? I was, but the doctor says that you don't die right away. But you know, but there was no blood pressure, no heartbeat. They had to drag Trudy out. She just got hysterical being a nurse. And and there's two things that I remember when I went in, and this is for me as a believer. Psalms 91, I got that. But when I got in the hospital, there was nothing else. I'm like, okay, where'd you go? I mean, hey, I've been serving you for a long time. And he brought me out of that darkness. It was really scary. It was very scary. I've never experienced anything like that. And then the transition to Spalding was and God was with me every step of the way. And this here is exactly where my accident started. Oh, well, it was. They brought me by ambulance to Spalding. Got upstairs, you know the rest of the story. I was now I got to talk a little bit about this. Now go. Okay, the inpatient experience. My. The emotional devastation, the fear, the frustration, the anger, the sadness, a sense of grief, a sense of loss, for grief, for physical and mental loss. And the ACT group, acceptance and commitment therapy. I got to think about that some more, because I mean, it's like, the first time I went to ACT, I cried. Tony made me laugh, and that was the first time I had laughed. And then one of my experiences was that I was rolling down the hall one night, and I had just, the reality had hit me. This is what has happened. You have a loss. You can't do the things that you used to do. So I was rolling down about 11:30 at night, hysterically crying. The next morning I was in Dr. Nuff's office. What is going on with you? And I said, am I crazy? Am I losing my mind? No, you're not crazy. That wasn't good enough. Yes, I am. People don't act like this. I don't act like that. But anyway, that was a turning point where I realized that I had loss, and there was something that could be done, and I started going to the group. So I was in the wheelchair and had some speech stuttering impairments, and that is an ugly picture. Can you go to the next one? Then from on to day rehab, which they call fine-tuning. It is literally fine-tuning. I never worked so hard in my life. I never known so much about the brain. I never knew how important rest was. So I do have a story to tell. I really do. So we had the COPE group, Dr. Wynn. I wanted to say, come on people, engage. That's the new acronym. And then we have principal. Getting called to Val. I call it the principal's office. You do not want to get called to the principal's office. She loves you dearly, but you will walk the chalk line. And then we have Nurse Linda, the resource queen. I never got so much paper on how to sleep in my life. I learned a lot about endurance and fatigue. You know, we as people, we like to just be on the run and on the go. I didn't know what that was like. I mean, I come from a family of go-getters, so Dr. Wynn, you need to rest. It takes the brain to rest. I'm thinking, okay, I get it, Dr. Wynn. But when I did get it, and then I had another word for the principal, was warden. Because, and you know what, I mean this nicely. Val cares about your people. But when you call in, and see, I can't lie. It's like she knows if you're lying. I said, I won't be in today, and I tried to say it in my worst voice. She says, and she didn't, there was no grace. What did you do? I want to look, lady, I'm tired. You just need to give me some space. It didn't come out that way, unfortunately. Homework, y'all be killing people around here with this homework. So, while I was in intensive care, I was fighting for my life. And when I came to day rehab, I am fighting for my independence. Yeah. And I got in trouble a couple of times until the reality really hit me how important the therapy is. And I had to have a stroke, come to Spalding to learn how to plan. I thought I was a planner. Take 4 naps a day. You have to rest your brain. It takes a long time to heal. Could you have the next one, please? And beyond. Because of the awesome therapy and care, I've had a remarkable recovery. But when I return to my typical self, I don't want to do that really. I have to give up being driven, not continue the same as the past, rest, structure, and learning new pathways. I got over, but it wasn't by myself. I had a team around me, OT, PT, psychology. I had the daycare coordinator, and 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 I want to make sure that I don't leave anything out. I have enjoyed working with everyone, and because of Spalding, and I mean this seriously, I am a much better person because when I met with Dr. Nupp, you know, he asked me, well, where's your faith? I want to see it. Where is it? My faith had wavered. I wasn't sure where I was at. Was I going to get well? And then there were several undercover nurses that would come in and lay hands on me, and now y'all can go find out who it was. We started a new thing. That helped me through my journey. So I made it over, and I made it through. I did work hard, and it took a lot of hard work. And it's still going to take some time. So I just want to encourage all of you. And I have another slide. Oh, well, go back so I can read my quote. And while you're doing that, I'll read this. Discomfort always contains a hidden truth by Mike Murdoch. I love that. That spoke to me. And in all you're getting understanding. I got one. Rest, it's okay to let others help. It really is okay to let other people help us. And I thank you for your time. I thank you for all that you've done for me. Tony, I thank you. You have no idea how your jokes helped me in a really hard time. I mean, when I came into that first coach group, I was just upset. And he said something crazy, something funny, and it got everybody laughing in there. So we'd like to see you laugh more, making others laugh. That's what we do, you know, as caretakers. We have others, we take care of other people, keep them all happy and make them laugh, and then inside we're sad. So I just want to thank a special thanks to the entire staff at Spalding Rehab Hospital, because I will never be the same. So I don't know how much time you got, but you have any questions, I'm here to answer them.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, absolutely.
It was fun. Yeah, I know how to talk. I don't bust verbs like I used to. I know how to write. I know how to slow down. I know how to talk to my brain now. So I've learned a lot. I learned how to walk. First time I was walking, one of the therapists said, stop walking like a mummy. You know how we walk. I was like, excuse you? And then one told me, stop walking like a wedding march. How do you do that? And then one therapist told me, I said something to her, it was one of my silly days. She says, there's more than one way to cut a cookie. And my entire family, we honor that. Everything that we've learned. And my family has came together. I mean, it has been wonderful. I wouldn't have never planned the journey. And another cousin called me, and what she told me was, he makes me to lie down. He didn't need my permission. He didn't ask me. He makes me to lie down. Why? So you can get restored. So you can know how to lay beside the still waters, which we don't take time to do. And although my stroke was an accident, and you know what, I had a girlfriend that sent me a really nasty note. She said, oh, y'all supposed to be asking questions. Okay, last point. She said, I hope you stop at that stop sign the next time this waved in your face. I'm thinking, what are you saying? I didn't intentionally was going fast. I didn't know there was going to be a stop sign. Even though the stroke was an accident, it still put me in a place to sit down somewhere, to be still, smell the roses, take time, and to find out who I am. Because when you give and give and give and give, you don't know how to receive. And that's a whole lot of us. We don't know how to receive. But we rather give, and a lot of times that keeps people from us. So touch somebody, hug somebody, stop doing all this madness. I was just going like a mad woman. But I didn't realize that's what I was doing. I was going to school full time. I had the stroke. I was going to get out and go to school, and she canceled my classes. I got mad. Couldn't go to school, had a stroke, but I